Yes, another Rover car review. And you might think, well, you've reviewed enough of these, haven't you? Well, I haven't reviewed one of these. Not only is it a 400, but it's a 400 with a boot. And not only is it a 400 with a boot, it doesn't have a K-series engine. It doesn't have a Honda D-series. It doesn't have an L-series. It has a T-series. Yes, it is a Rover 420. 420 IXL. That means it's not a GSI. It doesn't have leather seats. It is one step down from the GSI with cloth seats. And that is something that many people prefer. Not me, but I still like it. As you can see, the colour is blue. Tahiti blue, to be specific. And I was just thinking that Tahiti blue 20 years ago never used to look that good because Rover at the time was just one of those throwaway cars. Now, polished, it looks fantastic. Barely a mark on this one, either side you look at it. Some indeed will prefer the Rover 45 because it does have that front end that makes it look even more Rovery than ever before. But others prefer the 400 for this particular reason. Only the very first of the Rover 45 was actually built properly. They cut some corners, they cut so many corners that the shape was no longer a square or a rectangle, but well, a circle. And now, looking at one of these, you can really spot the difference. Seat quality, carpets, door shut sounds. Even the handles, you don't really have to worry too much about pushing them against there like that because they're not going to break off. The completely worthwhile illuminated ignition ring. These are just a few of the things that make the Rover 400 better than the 45. Better? Yeah, better. Here's something I've never quite understood. Why the 400, which is essentially the same floor pan as the 45, didn't have the same kind of rot issues. I mean, they do a bit, but nowhere near as much. And the same thing with damp. We have another car here that's absolutely bone dry, even though it's been chucking it down today. And how is that possible from a car of this age? Open up the boot of a 45 and there's likely you'll find some goldfish in there, or something else that requires water to live. Let's have a look under the bonnet. And this is where this car is really very much of interest to me because it has the T-Series engine. And as much as I like the K-Series, the T-Series is even more exciting. Why though? I mean, the K-Series is lightweight, all aluminium engine, capable of producing quite a bit of punchy power, whereas the T-Series is a cast iron block and weighs about twice the amount. But it is exceedingly durable and tunable. And heavy, but torquey as well. 136 brake horsepower or thereabouts, depending on the condition of the engine itself. As a Rover enthusiast, I'm obviously not going to be disappointed by the interior, but this one feels so good. The back support is just excellent. It feels like such a proper chair. Oh, only 36,000 miles as well. This is going to drive exceptionally well, I should imagine. Clean throughout. It's managed to keep most of this material where it should be on all four doors, which is nice. And the headlining, well, there's a cheat there because the headlining has actually been refit. So, you know, we can't say that it's managed to hang on to it because it didn't. 4 electric windows, that's a luxury. Now if you're thinking that the overall presentation and condition of this car is rather familiar, then there's a good reason for that. That's because this car is another Allegro man car.
Yes, it is.
Enjoying the ducks?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Hello.
Yes, another one of my rescues. Paul's obviously told you it's the 420 IXL. Couldn't believe actually when I saw that it was the 420. So I was just like, yeah, this has to be rescued and saved. No messing around. 4 fresh tyres have gone on it because it's been stood. Work under the bonnet, the oil change and filter, change the coolant. I've had the cam belt and auxiliary belt done, and then I had to do a little bit of welding just where they normally do go, sort of there, on that corner, and a little bit on that corner. It's just so straight. It's done 36,000 miles, and he's always coming up with names for cars. This one needs to be called Jack. That's what its previous owner was called. This is just an example of how to look after a car. Look at all that documentation he's saved. Yes, it all probably wants going through properly and dating up and all that sort of stuff, but there's just masses of it. He's owned it since 2002. It's never wanted for anything in there, and all I've done then is recommissioned it and then caught up on its maintenance under the bonnet, as I've pointed out. I'm really enjoying running it this month.
Very little sense of drama going on driving this, really. It pulls along without any real effort. You can barely hear the engine half of the time. So that means that you don't really need to rev it for it to pick up. It just goes along. It's a bit like driving a diesel, really, but without the silly noise. It's quite warm in here though. It's always going to be warm when you sat next to a leg roll man. So here we're doing 30. Often they'll carry on doing sort of that 35 that they do here. Third gear, get to the 50 limit and 50. That's enough. There's no screaming noises going on or anything like that. It's just nice low down grunt. So as you will have gathered, this car is for sale, isn't it? A leg roll man's selling it. So if you want to buy it, there's a link at the bottom of the description with this car, and you can do. It'll be on eBay. Not sure how much for. Not even going to tell you. You can find that out for yourself, can't they?
Sorry? Hear what you said.
I know.